Hey everyone, Chris for another video. Today we have the Google Onhub Wi-Fi router. So I got this a couple days ago. I do already have an Onhub router. I just never produced a video on it. This is my second one. Google also has the Google Wi-Fi that they now offer, both in a single or a triple pack. Basically, those are mesh network. But thing is, Google also released an update to the Onhub which supports that mesh network. So you could either add the Google Wi-Fi to the Onhub, or you can actually add a second Onhub to an already existing Onhub that you have. So I thought, well, why get the Google Wi-Fi when the Onhub supports beefier hardware, has 13 antennas. It also offers AC 1900 versus 1200 from the Google Wi-Fi. So I figured that the performance will probably be better on the Onhub, but we'll get into the differences a little bit as I go through the unboxing here. So we do have just the box. It is, I would say, one of the big differences between Onhub and the Google Wi-Fi is sheer size. This is going to be much larger, something that's going to stand out more in your home, whereas the Google Wi-Fi is much slimmer, just similar to the Google Home where it's white. So we'll go ahead and just get this unboxed. I have already opened this. I actually recorded the video before, and then I accidentally deleted it off my camera, so we'll go ahead this for a second time. Then this just flips up via magnet, which is kind of a nice little touch. Then you're presented with the Onhub itself. I actually picked this up locally for ridiculously cheap from someone. They were selling it. So I advise you check locally, Craigslist, OfferUp, things like that, that people actually sell electronics and they don't know what to sell them for, so you can get good deals on. There's some foam right here, which is nice to kind of give it some cushion. You have two smaller boxes, larger box. You have your power brick. It uses just a standard 12-volt type plug. It's actually really big. That's one of the things I do not like about the Onhub, is this power brick is so large compared to my hand. That's going to take up like 2 to 3 outlets if you have a power strip. And if, let's say, you have this plugged into like a kitchen outlet or something like that, this really stands out when plugging in. The cable, sure, it's decently long. I would say maybe 6 feet or so, 5 feet. It's still really large compared to the Google Wi-Fi. It's probably going to be much smaller, maybe like this big, like a standard phone, because the Google Wi-Fi uses USB-C to power it. And here you get your Ethernet cords. It comes with 2, which what I really like about them is, one, they're flat, so that gives it a nice aesthetic, plus they're very low profile Ethernet RJ45 ends here. Normal ones have much longer connectors on it, but they do that for a specific reason, being the Onhub requires what I mentioned about the RJ45 jacks and these Ethernet cords. This is, of course, like I said, the one you get 2 of these. You get that, and this is what you would call just a standard RJ45 Cat 5, Cat 6 type cable. So the difference, as you can see, is the bulkiness of all this extra protection, basically, of the cord versus the one that comes with the Google Onhub, as you can see there. So the reason why you are required to use the slim is because of that. When this shell goes on here, which there is Onhub branding, which you're then able to line up down here. You would slide this on. You can't, because it hits this large cord in the back of it. So that's why you have to use the ones that are provided, which I like, and since you Now that I have 2, if this is your second one, you would have 4 of these, which is a nice clean aesthetic for your network setup. I have my first Onhub hooked up to my modem, and then I have a 8-port gigabit switch, a TP-Link. You can use the Netgear because there's only one Ethernet port on here. So switch is going to be required if you're needing multiple. So here's the Onhub itself. This is the blue variant. Like I said, there's also a black one that they sell. The TP-Link, Asus also makes the Onhub as well. We have rubber down here at the bottom, and then a metal base. So this casing shell twists and pulls right off. And then you have just basically the internals. Then you have just some plastic to pull off there. Then you're presented with power port, reset button, USB, and there's also an Internet and Ethernet port as well. USB port is disabled, so it's inactive, so you can't really use it for a network drive or anything like that. Hopefully this is something that people have been touting for the longest time ever since this came out. Has tons of hardware, but it's just inactive. So hopefully Google pushes updates to allow some more features, which would be nice. Up here you have just some ventilation holes. Also there's a speaker built in here, and there's a multicolor LED light surrounding this top ring right in here, which gives you a status of your network. So that light that I mentioned, that was on the top, on the front up here. So that's an indicator light. There's this little card at the top. Basically, of course, if there's no light, there's no power to it. When it's blue, it means that the Onhub is ready to be set up. When it's the teal color, internet is working, it's active, there's nothing wrong. And then when it's this amber type red orange color, that means network's down, something's wrong. You can dim that within the app. What we'll need to do is get this set up. Now, since I've already set this up, your setup is going to be different. What you'll need to do, what I ran into when I first did the video, you're going to have to connect this. If, let's say, you already have a Google Onhub and you want to add this, a second one, to create that mesh network, you're going to have to disconnect your current Onhub from your modem and power it down and connect this as if it was a brand new Onhub, as if you didn't have one. So this will be technically like your first one in the setup. Then, in order to do that, go through the setup. This is required in order for the firmware to be downloaded onto this. That way it'll support the mesh network, because when these were produced and shipped out, they didn't have the new firmware installed on them. So it has to be installed for it to support the mesh network ability. And then once that's done, you'll have to factory reset this to then set it up as a mesh network add-on. So that's what's required. Hardwired connections up. So we're going to go ahead and get into the setup of this now.